To take a closer look about our schedule for tonight, we're going to have two sessions. The first session we're going to discuss, as I mentioned, how to avoid e-failure and the ingredients of the success. And then we're going to have a 30 minutes break and we'll be presenting the Lebanese Band Association for the Promotion of Music, Le BAM. It's an NGO that's going to play for us like 30 minutes of classical and traditional music so that we can lighten up. And then we're going to close with Mr. Jean-Pierre, who's going to tell us how to create a legal value for electronic archives and how to give a legal value to electronic documents. Okay, let me first, before I give the microphone to my colleague, let me first introduce Everteam quickly for those who do not know us yet. So who is Everteam? Everteam is an international company with main headquarters in Europe, in France, in US, Boston, and in the Middle East. Our main headquarters is here in Lebanon. We cover several countries, either directly or through our local or through our network, partner network. So we cover different areas, as you can see here on the map. The company, today we hold around like 450 employees worldwide, and we have a large base, a large customer installed base. We also have been certified by main analysts and research companies such as Gartner and Forrester as being a leading software vendor in enterprise content management area. So what does Everteam do? Mainly, Everteam initially focused on three areas, provides three types of solution. The first core area is the enterprise content management solution, where we provide a set of software solutions that cover the entire scope of content lifecycle, from data ingestion, content capture, up to the processing, automation, and to the archival and disposition. So we have a set of solutions that cover this scope. On the other hand, we also have our enterprise resource planning suite that provides a broad set of ERP solutions from accounting, HR, stock, warehousing, etc. And then we have our safety and analytics and investigation framework, which is a framework that allows us to build content-specific security-enabled application integrated within the EverSuite platform, and which are easily customizable and adaptable to integrate with various security applications for biometrics, face recognition, voice recognition, and at the same time, it allows us to feed all this contents into big data and then to be able to perform analytics on top of them to be able to understand this data. So this is what Everteam done, and we've been doing it for like the past 25 years. We have a large range of clients. If you can see some logos, I list some of them in Lebanon. We have the Lebanon security and military companies. We have a lot of ministries. We have education. In Qatar, we have a ministry, an example, the Ministry of Municipality and Environment. Rames will explain to us or will give us the examples here. We also have other institutions in UAE. We also like to discuss with you the Dubai Smart Government, and then also other government entities and municipalities in Saudi Arabia. Sorry, I skipped one. And also here are some references in Africa, like you can see a lot of telecom, banks, government, and so on. So I'm gonna pass on now the microphone to Rames, who's gonna give us like the real examples, how he's been doing it all the time in Qatar.
Thank you, Stephanie, for the introduction. As Stephanie was saying just a minute ago, the main goal إنه نكون عم نحكي اليوم شوي عن السكسس ستوري تاعولنا بقطر. We will talk about them. رح نحكي عنهم ونبلش نقول شو التشالنجز اللي usually بيتواجهها الجفرمنت لتقدر تحصل على شيء اسمه e governance، يعني لننتقل من مكان رحنا ما عم نطبق الاي جفرنس مضبوط بالجفرمنت، شو هن الستبس that we have to take او to go through لنقدر نوصل للشيء اللي بدنا اياه. I will be going through three examples mainly. هول الثلاثة examples one of them هو مش government، هو قطر سنترال بنك، و two of them is purely government. رح نبلش mainly بكيو سي بي قطر سنترال بنك، وحنحكي الستوري تاعت كيو سي بي. كيو سي بي mainly انا بعتبره هو a failure story بس مش لأفر، يعني هو ستوري بلشت بفيلر وانتقلت لسكسس مع أفر. الفيلر وين بلش؟ الفيلر بلش انه هيدا سيستم كان اوريدي implemented، يعني هذا البروجكت ما كان اول مره عم ينعمل له implementation، كانوا كيو سي بي اللي هن اذا بدكم مثل مصرف لبنان بس بقطر، المصرف المركزي بقطر، كان عندهم سيستم implemented already، full system implemented عم يستعمل. Suddenly they decided انه خلص we want to shut down this system and go forward، نعمل سيستم جديد. For a decision like this to be taken اكيد في اسباب كثير، يعني هذا السيستم القديم كلف مصاري، it cost money. لتيجي الاداره تاخذ decision انه we want to stop this system to shut it down، في سبب اساسي ليتاخذ هيك decision، وهيدا هو الكور تاع الدسكشن تاعتنا اليوم اللي هي الاي فيلر. ليه العالم تفشل وليه الشركات او الشركات والزباين سويه بيفشلوا to implement a solution ليستعملوه؟ بلا شك انه السبب الاساسي اللي ممكن السيستمز يفشل عند الكاستمر والفيلر الاساسي اللي ممكن يواجهوه انه الناس ما تستعمل هيدا السيستم. يعني when you implement a system and people don't use it معناتها السيستم فشل، حتى لو انت you deployed it شغلته اشتغل بس user didn't like it وما استعملوه it mean you have reached a failure. This is one. Another reason for failure maybe هو السكسس بس مش فول سكسس، يعني partial success. شو يعني؟ وهذا الحالة اللي كنا عم نواجهها بكيو سي بي. اوقات بينعمل implementation لسيستم بحيث انه only department or two will use this system. Not all department will use it. مش كل الانتيتي will use it. هيدا will lead for something really bad. شو هو؟ The main reason العالم implement a paperless system هو انه يصيروا paperless. يعني ما بقى بدهم يشوفوا ورق. اذا department or two استعملوا السيستم، مش كل الانستتيوشن او مش كل المؤسسه عملت ادابشن لهذا السيستم، it means mainly انه السيستم فشل، يعني we are still using paper. هحكي شوي عن تجربتنا بكيو سي بي. رحنا بلشنا بتجربتنا بكيو سي بي بسيستم موجود، في عندنا ليجاسي، حدا عنده ريزيستنس على اي سيستم جديد لانه عنده تجربه، شو ما بتقول له we will give you the ability to do this and this and this he will not، خلينا نقول مش حيصدقك كثير. therefore كان عندنا ليجاسي اضطرينا نواجهه، ريزيستنس من اليوزرز على سيستم اوريدي مجربين وملاقيين انه هن فشلوا باستعمال هذا السيستم. فكان اول تشالنج عندنا اكيد بطبيعه الحال تو مايجريت فروم اولد سيستم، ننقلهم بطريقه تكون ترانسبيرنت ما يقدروا يحسوا بانه في سيستم داون وسيستم اب. ثاني تشالنج اساسي تو انجيج اول يوزر، وهذا الانجيجمنت بيصير باكثر من طريقه. The main way to do this engagement work هو الكومبانيونشيب اللي بنعملها مع الزبون. يعني if you implemented a system عند customer then you stopped ورحت على البيت ما بتكون عملت شيء. What Everteam تعمل does usually انه Everteam engage مع الكاستمر لحد ما السيستم يكون لايف، وبالنسبه لنا لايف يعني every single user بهالانستتيوشن عم يستعمل هيدي الابلكيشن، معناتها بطل في بيبر، معناتها صرنا وزاره بلا ورق او مؤسسه بلا ورق. هذا الشعار اللي يوجوالي بيستعملوه بقطر. And this is what we have done in QCB. اكيد في كثير اشياء نحكي عنها اللي هي المين الاسباب اللي العالم بتروح على بيبرلس سيستم، حاحكي عنهم بالسلايد الثاني نظرا للوقت اللي شوي صار ضيق. البوينت الثاني، الكيس ستادي الثاني اللي حنحكي عنها هي اسمها ام يو بي، وحياخذ شويه وقت احكي بس عن هذا المشروع لانه هو فعلا مشروع كثير ناجح. حاعطيكم شويه بريف شو يعني ام يو بي. ام يو بي فيكم تفكروا فيه از برايفت كلاود. برايفت كلاود قدر يخلي رخصه البناء، يعني رخصه البناء اذا واحد بده يعمل بيلدينج بيرميت تقدر تصير اوتوميتد ثرو 17 اكسترنال انتيتي، يعني في 17 جهه بالدوله يوجوالي بتكون لها انجيجمنت بتتدخل بالموافقه على رخصه البناء. هول ال 17 جهه يوجوالي بيجي حدا بيفوت على البلديه ليقدم على رخصه، بس كيف بيفوت؟ وهون المفارقه بالموضوع او something that we have to pay attention. بيفوت معه ترولي فيها المابس، يعني بيكون معه 10 او 12 ماب مع اوراق مع افادات مع كل هالمواضيع. هيدي الترول اللي بيكونوا عم بيفوت فيها بينعمل لها 17 نسخه لتنبعت ل 17 انتيتي، لهول الانتيتيز يدرسون ويوافقوا عليهم. بحسابات بسيطه اذا في 100 ريكوست ديلي، اذا كل ريكوست فيه شي 200 ورقه، عم نحكي بشي 9 مليون ورقه بالشهر. 9 مليون ورقه بالشهر لينعمل لهم ستورج قصدي ستور، محل وير هاوس ينحطوا فيه، ينعمل لهم مينتنس، موظفين شغلتهم يعملوا لهم اركايفنج. هيدا لحاله will have a huge cost، واللي هو عكس اللي الناس بتفكروا انه الاي تي اد كوست، اي تي ريديوس كوست، بيخفف لك الكوست اللي عندك اياه. هون بالتيبل اللي انتم شايفينه حاطط بس هيك مقارنه كثير بسيطه وسريعه، وعم بقول كيف بلش المشروع. التشالنج الاساسي كان بام ام يو بي انه الطلب البيلدينج بيرمت بس تقدمه كان ياخذ حوالي مثل ما انتم شايفين الشيء البسيط، يعني عم نحكي الطلبات الكثير بسيطه، اوقات بتوصل مثلا ل 235 يوم ليخلصوا الطلب، يعني ليقدروا ياخذوا ابروفل على الطلب بتاخذ لها 235 يوم. يعني انتم اذا بتطلعوا فوق كان 235 نهار تاخذ الطلب. مع الامبلمنتيشن تاع السيستم تاعنا وبعد حوالي سنتين من العمل وصلنا لمحل انه الاوراق اللي بتاخذ ب 121 مثلا و170 يوم هن صفر. الاوراق اللي بتاخذ ب 106 120 يوم صفر. كل الطلبات صارت بتاخذ بحوالي الواحد لل 15 يوم معظمهم، او 15 ل 30 يوم، لانه في تاورز في مؤسسات اكبر. السبب الاساسي انه قدرنا نحول عمليه كانت تاخذ وقت كثير من خلال انه كل واحد بده ياخذ هول الاوراق وينتقل فيهم على كل انتيتي وياخذ الابروفل، عملناها اوتوميتد ثرو ا كلاود سيستم مع كي بي اي مع مراقبه مع مونيتورينج لكل هالمواضيع. This is the next success story. حنحكي عن اخر وحده بما انه ستيفاني بلشت تطلع فيي بطريقه انه تاخرنا. طيب دبي سمارت جوفرمنت، كمان دبي سمارت جوفرمنت بس سريعا تو بريف يو اباوت ذس بروجكت. اللي عملناه بدبي كايفر تيم هو انه خلينا كل مؤسسات دبي، الوزارات، كل شيء بالدوله ما بقى عنده شيء اسمه مراسلات رسميه بين بعض. يعني احنا وي كرييتد ا برايفت كلاود لهم كمان. هذا البرايفت كلاود كلهم زي كان ريجستر اون ات، بيفوت اليوزر عليه. بس نحكي برايفت كلاود عم نحكي بمور ذان thousands اوف يوزرز. هيدا السيستم بلش بمئات اليوزرز، هاويفر وصل ل 1000. ليكون السيستم تاعنا بيقدر ينتقل من 100 اوف يوزر تو 1000 اوف يوزر لازم يكون سكيلابل. وهيدي كانت one of the strength point الموجوده بايفر تيم. ايفر تيم يعني عندها سوليوشن سكيلابل، فيك تعمل له امبلمنتيشن فور 20 يوزر. however اذا وصلت ل 100 اوف تيرابايتس and 1000 اوف تيرابايت وكمان ل 1000 اوف يوزر it will work fine، لانه it is a scalable solution. same مثل ما كثير شركات كبيره اليوم تعمل سوليوشن تاعها with an architecture which is scalable. اللي صار دبي انه اذا مثل ما انتم شايفين في عندنا ايفر سويت سي تي اس اللي هو كورسبوندنس تراكنج سيستم. هذا الايفر سويت كورسبوندنس تراكنج سيستم هو الكور اللي كل شيء بالجفرمنت بيحكي معه. يعني اليوم اذا وزاره الداخليه بدها تبعت مراسله من عندها لوزاره الخارجيه بطلت محتاج تطبعها وتوقعها وتروح توصلها، صار بكفي فوتها بالسيستم تكبس سند بعد 3 ثواني بيكون صار بوزاره الخارجيه. اكيد هذا بيوفر حق الدرايفرز اللي بده يروحوا يوصلوا هول المراسلات، البنزين، كل هالمواضيع. المواضيع يعني التفاصيل تاعت هذا الموضوع والانجريدينت اوف سكسس وهاو وي كان دو ات بروبرلي حيحكينا عنهم روني اكثر بالابكمينج برزنتيشنز. ما بعرف اذا حيلحق بس هي هاف تو تراي يعني. So he will take I will give him يعني I will give him the mic to start for the rest of this. Thank you.
Thanks. Good afternoon. Sorry? Lebanon Smart Government. He's next. Okay, our ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on a Friday afternoon. I'm sure you're ready to go for a weekend. So I will definitely not kill you by PowerPoint. I'll try to be brief. Let's move on to, I will be talking mainly, let's see how it works. Okay, on the e-governance, e-failure, how to avoid failure. Failure sometimes is inevitable, unfortunately. The question is, or the challenge is, how to overcome it. What are the criteria? What are the measures that we can take basically ahead of time to avert any failures? Move here. Okay, thanks. Am I looking good? Thanks. Okay, so basically, speaking of failure, although I'm a positive man, I don't like failure, but it happens. Failure comes in different natures, different sorts. You have typical failure from upfront. A project, we're all mature enough to know that most of IT failure, unfortunately, are bound to fail. No wonder why. There are measures, there are good news. We learn from experiences, but clearly we're going to try to give you some best practices to avoid basically going down that road. So either immediate failure, just immediately for some reason, lack of funding, etc. Other possibility is sustained failure. We start, we're happy, there is honeymoon, everything is fine, and all of a sudden, during the course of the project, it stops. Boom, back to square zero. So this is also, unfortunately, something that we are all exposed to. So we're gonna try to avoid these basically drastic outcomes. And finally, there is a partial failure. Also, we can start, but again, we miss the scope. We cover part of the requirements, although they're working, but we're not there yet. And since there's no end user adoption, we all know that the end users are not happy, they will not use the application, therefore it's bound to fail. Again, it's not good news. Finally, there is some positive news, success or no failure. Well, usually we hit the mark, we meet the requirements, sometimes we exceed them, and we get the end user adoption, and we're happy, basically. So to avoid these uncertainties or to limit them, we can basically discuss some methodology that have been widespread, that have been common, e-governance, and how we can re-engineer the processes, how we can take some time before jumping and starting implementing. There is some work to be done up front. There is some thinking, there is some organization to be aligned, some measures, and I'll come to that in a moment. So basically, I will skip this. The key takeaway from this slide is the last bullet point. It's about people, it's about processes, and it's about technology. They all go hand in hand, they're closely intertwined. There are three pillars, so they are definitely important, critical to take this into consideration before embarking on a new strategic IT project. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, this is a slide talking about people. People, we all know, thanks to the social media, I would say, ubiquity and popularity. Everybody, I'm sure all of you guys have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you name it, Twitter. So basically, we all know that we are no longer basically IT agnostic, or we're not aware of all the trends. You're not expert. We're not expecting everybody to be expert, but I'm sure you are all comfortable. You are IT literate, and you have some buzzwords. You know how to use the phone and your tablet device, etc. So IT is no longer reserved to a certain elite. It's becoming widespread and ubiquitous. This is a nice chart where we're plotting satisfaction versus time. In the old days, we used to do what we call a proof of concept. Again, when we talk mission critical IT applications, there are huge budgets at stake. So before investing, we usually do a proof of concept or a pilot, if you will. We take a department, we try to automate it, we take a use case, and we implement it. And usually, the success rate is very high. You see the slope is very high. We are very happy, perfect. Except reality sets in after. Okay, we start the deployment, and then we start finding some hiccups, we start finding some issues, honeymoon is over, and we realize reality sets in. So basically, we feel that it's fading away. The momentum created by the peak, just really very steep peak, starts to fade away, to plateau, and eventually to start pointing downwards. We don't want to head south. We want to keep going up. That's our ultimate goal. By the way, I'm an independent consultant. I'm very good friend with Everteam, but again, I'm trying to give you my objective from my experience, from some gray hair that I've got over the years. Sorry, no, we're not done yet. I think I pushed the wrong button. Okay, moving on. Okay, BPR, this is the key slide. I don't know if you heard of, I'm sure you're familiar with this BPR buzzword. This started in the 80s with a major book created by Hammer and Champy where it created a big revolution in corporate America where they said, don't change processes, obliterate, completely destroy. I'm not saying we should take this religiously. We realize that we cannot be extremists. We have to go smoothly, one step at a time. So basically, we need what matters in BPR, the critical success factors is to narrow down the actual, which is the reality today, your as-is processes, people, organization, versus our targets. That is our design, our ultimate goal. Where do you want to go from here? The idea is to measure it. We have a set of criteria. We have questionnaires. We have a full process and a framework that we can help you with to really assess the gaps, narrow it, understand the issues, all the pitfalls before engaging and embarking on a strategic IT project. It requires a lot of upfront thinking and some maturity. Okay, so this is a very important slide. Then again, I'm not gonna bother you with all the details, but I'm sure some of you are familiar with implementations. Okay, there is the plan. As I said, you have to plan ahead to schedule some core activities. You start the implementation, and again, there are various methodology. You have what we call the waterfall method, where step one followed by step two, it's sequential, versus what we call the agile. This is very hot, it's gaining a lot of traction. Agile is about moving quickly in an iterative manner. Scrum is a key technology, is a key methodology in this agile methods, because by the time you implement your project, 6 months down the road, technology evolves at a fast pace. You miss the point, so you have to start again. They've introduced agile, where you have to be more agile, more flexible to cope with the technology and with the requirements as well. Again, yes, previous slide, sure. The BPR. You want to take a picture? Okay. There is copyright on it. Okay, so this is, again, those are the major building blocks. Again, the key thing is the methodology that you want to adopt, agile versus waterfall, and you have to make sure that you follow a certain framework. Speaking of framework, quality is key as well. You have to stick to a really stringent quality plan. You have to be especially for complex project with many moving parts, you have to make sure that everything is copied, is tracked, is managed properly. Sorry. Okay. So again, this is not rocket science, it's common sense. But sometimes, unfortunately, due to the urgency, due to the rush, we tend to forget and to sometimes do quick things that we regret later on. So the idea is to try to do things ahead of time. So the same organization must be put in place. There are committees, there are steering committees. So you have to, again, follow a certain organization to succeed in your project. The processes, those are building blocks. Of course, they're all offered as part of the other suite solutions. So you can have paperless, you can have an ERP where you can automate all core activities from billing to HR to payroll to asset management to you name it, to finance and accounting, etc. Corporate services, information, you have to disseminate the information as well. It's good to have the back office and the core apps, but the idea is to use them, to consume them. So you need to disseminate the information on the web or on any mobile devices. And of course, it has to be secure and safe. It's good to disseminate the info, but it's better to manage security. Some information is critical. Okay, I'm not gonna spend too much time on it, but basically we're drilling down on each component, each building block. The capture is about document, paperless. We manage physical documents. We scan them, we index them. We have very complex solution for correspondence management, meeting management, and tendering for procurement, etc. And this is again the tip of the iceberg. There is much more. I'm not gonna put everything on the slide. Moving on to the ERP, same, those are the core modules, if you will. Again, it's not an exhaustive list, but again, this is a quick, brief overview of what an ERP is, and it can automate. It's basically the engine of any organization. It's very critical. Corporate services, this is something that is tailored to any companies. There are some specific requirements that you can automate, and they flow across departments. And the ultimate goal is to minimize any errors. We have to be error prone and completely error free, and automated with traceability and audit trail, etc. Information portal, same, you're all familiar with the browser, with the net. It's about delivering, it's a doorway to your organization. It could be intranet, extranet, and of course with some mobile access as well. And the safety as well, the security, needless to say that it's extremely critical to secure the information in the repository. So we have the solution as well. And finally, the technology, in a nutshell, stay away from proprietary, non-standard solution, okay? Because you will be held hostage, and it will be very hard. It may be quicker in the beginning, but you will have hard time on the longer run. Stay away from proprietary, closed solution and adopt standards like service-oriented architecture. It's like the glue, if you will, that ties in all these complex components, whether they are from Eversuite or a third party. The idea is to communicate in a seamless manner, as Ramiz was saying as well, in these complex implementations in Qatar. Sometimes you have to live with a third party application. The idea is not to replace everything. You maximize your investment, but you take what you can take you pull information from an application that you can feed, and the other way around. Okay, so quickly, there are so many advantages of adopting the standard and a service-oriented architecture that is usually known as loosely coupled. It's been around for a while, very common and adopted by the big vendors. So today it's the de facto standard in integration of complex mission-critical applications. So SOA is extremely important. Standard, again, I'm not gonna stress on this. Stay away from proprietary, non-standard environment, whether it's databases, whether it is, you name it. And try to adopt really widely used and open systems to avoid being locked in, what we call vendor locked in. You're locked to a vendor and you will have hard time basically evolve or scale. Okay, those are some buzzwords. I'm not gonna, again, bug you with everything. Some of them I'm sure you're familiar with, whether it's XML, Java, .NET. Those are the major pillars. So it's basically something that is open. If any application is compliant with these standards, we can talk to and we can much easily integrate with. Rather than building from scratch, we can leverage our own basically know-how in this field. And I think that's about it. Okay, last slide, I promise. So you remember the 3 pillars, the people, the processes, and the technology, and they're trying to set some expectations. people, you have to be reasonable. Don't set unrealistic goals or requirements. So you have to be realistic. Okay, processes must be also realistic. Don't overcomplicate things. One of the worst implementation can be an overkill, a very complex application that is not user-friendly. Trust me, it's bound to fail. So try to make it simple. In America, they use the word keep it easy and simple, the KISS word. So this is it, KISS. Not the Lebanese way, of course. So, and the technology must be rational, okay? Although people must be reasonable, technology, you can't mess around with technology. It has to be rational and open. And that's it. It's a collaboration. It's a two-way street. We're the supplier, you're the client, you're the customer. It's a two-way street. We tend to view, we as vendor, I'm wearing my vendor hat now, we tend to look at you, at the end customer, as very tiny, you know, it's very easy, we underestimate it, everything is simple, it's a piece of cake, although it's not in reality the case. You guys, the end user, the customer, see it from a different angle. This is your perspective. You look at your problems, they're huge, and you come to us, you say, please help, try to help me solve my business problem. I have many pain points, help me. So the idea is halfway through. The middle ground is try to collaborate quickly. It's a partnership at the end of the day, and this is the ingredients of a successful project, or at least something that is not bound to fail. So that's about it. I want to thank you for your time, and I hope I was not too long for this presentation. And enjoy your sunny and warm weekends. Thank you. And now, Jean-Pierre?
No, now we're gonna have the Le Bam play us some music, you know, to change the mood, and then we'll continue with Jean-Pierre.
نحن بنشكر ايفر تيم كثير على الدعم. هيدي 9 سنة نحن وايفر تيم وسنويا عم تدعم الجمعية، وفعلا هي من المين سبورترز والدونيترز. لو منهم نحن ما كنا قدرنا كملنا. جمعيتنا الهدف تبعها هي انشاء اوركسترات بالمناطق. لوبام عندها اول فرع كان ببيت ماري، ثاني فرع ببسكنتا، الثالث بعقلين، فتحنا بجديدة وفتحنا مؤخرا بطرابلس. الهدف من الجمعية هي مثل ما قلت انشاء اوركسترات بالمناطق. الاشخاص اللي بيجوا لعنا هن من اعمار متفرقة. نحن بنقدم الآلة الموسيقية، الانسترومون الجمعية بتقدمه، بتقدم الاساتذة يلي بيعطوهم education تيقدروا يوصلوا فعلا يدقوا بأوركستر. نحن بنتميز عن غيرنا انه اول ما بنلقط الآلة بندق بمجموعة، ما بندق لحالنا. نحن بنتمنى لإيفرتيم وللمعرض كل التوفيق ويعطيكم الف عافية.